thought they called Las Vegas the city that never sleeps.
Nobody else here at the airport.
Why is Vegas so empty on a Friday night? No traffic.
It is shocking. Check out these videos.
No place in America ever made ordinary people feel like high rollers the way Las Vegas once did. But that story belongs to another time, when the city promised what happens here stays here. In 2025, Vegas has shamelessly rewritten its own rules. The illusion now charges you for believing in it. Room prices soar, resort fees hit $55 a night, and some hotels charge $50 a day just to use a mini fridge. Need cash from an ATM on the Strip? That'll be nearly $12 to withdraw your own money. Every smile, every small comfort now comes with a hidden price tag. The true meaning of them belly full but we hungry. Yet if this were only corporate greed, Vegas might still stand. The real rot runs deeper. Greed legalized, taxed, and encouraged by policy itself. That's how the City of Dreams became a mirror of America's fatigue and loss of faith, leaving outsiders quietly disillusioned. In this video, we reveal 9 truths you may be hearing for the very first time. Reason 1, border fear, the new anxiety at America's gate. You've probably heard that tourism to the U.S. has fallen, but few realize the fear now begins before travelers even leave the airport. According to ABC News Australia, Australian citizens have reported being held for hours at U.S. airports, interrogated or even detained before being deported. Immigration lawyers now tell travelers to carry burner phones, print bank statements, and prepare detailed itineraries, not for convenience, but protection. Melissa Vincenti, Managing Director of Worldwide Migration Partners, put it bluntly, the hype is real. What once sounded like paranoia is now routine. Border agents frequently demand access to phones and laptops, reviewing texts, emails, and social media accounts. Refuse, and you're immediately denied entry. Officials now use AI algorithms to scan devices for keywords, often producing false matches or misreading private jokes. It's not a court of law, Vincenti warns. You have no way to dispute what they think you meant. Just admitting to using marijuana once, even in countries where it's legal, can get you denied entry and banned from the U.S. for life. The fear no longer affects only tourists. Green card and visa holders describe nasty treatment and a growing sense of anxiety. And after Donald Trump's executive order recognizing only male and female genders, gender-diverse Australians face visa delays and extra screening. The Australian government now warns that no visa guarantees entry, while lawyers remind citizens that U.S. officials can deny admission for any reason or no reason. To many, it feels like visiting a police state disguised as a vacation. I felt like a criminal before I even saw the welcome sign, one traveler told The Guardian. For Las Vegas, once America's most welcoming city, this paranoia is poison. International visitors used to make up 20% of its tourism economy. Now airlines cut routes, conventions go half empty, and casino dealers say the global buzz is gone. Vegas was built to welcome the world. But when the world fears your border, the dream dies at customs. And the border is only one wall. The next one is political. Reason 2, political repulsion. Canada and Mexico step back. You've probably heard U.S. tourism is slowing. But did you know 2 countries, Canada and Mexico, quietly kept America's travel engine alive for decades? They weren't casual visitors, they were the backbone of inbound travel, and for Las Vegas, they were oxygen. Canada has long been the city's #1 international market. 20.4 million visits in 2024 and $20.5 billion spent. Professor Stephen Miller from UNLV says Canadian tourism ranks right behind Nellis Air Force Base in economic impact for Nevada. Mexico comes next, the second largest market, accounting for over 20% of all international visitors. Mexican travelers are famous high rollers, spending an average of $191 per trip. Together, they've carried Las Vegas for decades. In Canada, a country that once treated Las Vegas like a second home, the numbers are in free fall. Statistics. Canada reports a thought drop in cross-border road trips, marking the 8th consecutive month of double-digit decline. At Harry Reid International Airport, passenger traffic tells the same story. Air Canada down 33% compared with June last year, WestJet down 31%, and the budget carrier Flair Airlines collapsing 62%. The steepest plunge of all. The economic hit is massive. In 2024, Canadian visitors pumped about $3.6 billion into Southern Nevada's economy and supported more than 43,000 local jobs, more than the state's entire manufacturing sector. Forbes now projects the U.S. could lose up to $29 billion in tourism revenue in 2025 as international travelers choose other destinations, with Canada leading the exodus. The reason isn't money, it's message. Tariffs, immigration policy, and divisive rhetoric, like joking about making Canada the 51st state, hit national nerves. Tourism economics calls it a severe sentiment drag on U.S. travel. Even the so-called MAGA-light Canadians have had enough. One Florida resort manager said, "Canadians aren't coming to America. Even the conservative ones don't want to come here right now. Snowbirds are selling their homes." Mexico's slowdown tells the same story. Las Vegas is uniquely vulnerable because its economy leans almost entirely on tourism, while cities like New York can diversify. State figures show an 11% decline in Mexican visitors to the U.S. this year, dragging total international traffic down. The drop from Mexico has had a clear impact on Vegas's signature events. During Mexican Independence Day weekend, one of the city's biggest celebrations, attendance and revenue both fell sharply. Local reports show hotel occupancy down 15%, with resort, casino, and restaurant revenues sliding alongside. The decline in Mexican tourism has hurt Las Vegas's cultural festivals and community events, cutting crowds and sales alike. The economic loss runs into the billions. As El Financiero put it, Vegas feels farther away, not in distance, but in spirit. And then there's the mood online. People on TikTok and Reddit joke about the orange blob. I'm sure you can connect the dots. It's half humor, half fatigue, the sound of a world rolling its eyes at American politics. In Las Vegas, officials are scrambling to patch the damage. Mayor Carolyn Goodman Berkeley has publicly pleaded for Canadians to return, admitting the city needs them back. In an August press conference, she urged industry leaders to rethink business decisions and make Vegas affordable again. Her message was simple. We want people to come here, have fun, spend money, go home happy, and come back 6 months later. Steve Hill, CEO of the LVCVA, was just as frank. Some of our friends in Canada aren't happy with us right now. We want them to come back, but we understand they may not be ready. Las Vegas was built on the idea that everyone is welcome. But when even your closest neighbors stop showing up, it isn't just a slow season, it's a warning. And if politics has already made people hesitate, what happens when those who still come realize the dream now comes with a price tag? Reason 3. Resort fees and hidden charges. The price tag on the illusion. For decades, Las Vegas was built on affordable dreams. Today, those dreams come with a minimum buy-in, and most people have been priced out. Before the 2010s, seeing a concert for full price was almost impossible unless you had no idea how the city worked. A few hours at any $20 table, and the pit boss would slide over a buffet voucher, a show ticket, or maybe even a free room. Vegas rewarded you for showing up. It made you feel like luck was part of the deal. Now, unless you're betting high for days, you'll be lucky to get a petal coupon for a comedy show, or worse, a reminder that you're not worth comping. Even the show itself has changed. A glass of wine at Absinthe now costs $45, the same price that once covered an entire night out, and it doesn't stop there. Last time I went, I grabbed a cheesesteak sandwich and a bottle of water, $40 gone in minutes. And before I could finish eating, the pit boss shut down a low-limit craps table because our group was on a roll. No warning, no apology, just a polite smile and a locked table. That wasn't bad luck, that was revenue management in action. The illusion of spontaneity that made Vegas magical is now scripted, timed, and controlled. You can still win, but only if it fits the spreadsheet. Resort fees became the language of greed disguised as policy. You see a room for $89, and it becomes $155 after mandatory add-ons. An ATM withdrawal costs $12. A fridge for medication costs $65. Wi-Fi is throttled unless you pay more. Even the pool chairs now come with a price tag. One man said he sat down to drink his beer and was told by 3 security guards to get up because that seat was reserved for paying guests. It's absurd, but it's not random. It's systemic. If you double your prices and lose half your customers, that's more profitable than cutting prices and getting twice as many because you have less overhead to serve half the people. That's the modern business ideal. Everyone mimics each other's playbooks because no one has original ideas anymore. The logic is everywhere. They've discovered they can charge enough that not filling the stadiums is more profitable. Less maintenance, less staff, same earnings. Just like algorithmic rent software for apartments, 70% occupancy is fine if you charge the rest 30% more. Hotels would like a word too. Cheaper to close certain floors and not have staff on them than to lower rates and fill them up. It's a margin game. This is what happens when you replace hospitality with spreadsheets. When efficiency kills experience, people used to feel like Vegas wanted them there. Now they feel like Vegas wants to see how much it can take before they walk away. I've met guests who left early just to escape the optional fees, because when a city starts charging you for the illusion itself, the magic's gone. Vegas no longer sells fantasy, it sells access. It's not a playground anymore, it's a gated community wrapped in neon. And if that feels cold, it's because it is. This isn't about entertainment anymore, it's about extraction. Because in 225, Vegas doesn't need a full house to win. It just needs to make sure the last player standing can afford to lose. If you think being ripped off during a weekend getaway is bad, coming home broke and disappointed, consider yourself lucky, because some people are getting drained all year long, the ones who work here. Reason 4. Housing and inflation pressure, the city that outpriced its own people. In 2025, residents of Las Vegas are facing a fear that used to belong only to tourists. They can no longer afford to stay. Once known for its low cost of living and easy access to housing, Las Vegas is now caught in one of the worst affordability crises in its history. Rent has soared while wages barely move. From 2020 to 2024, average rental prices rose 40 to 50%, while wage growth stagnated. According to Redfin, the median home price reached about $440,000 in spring 2025. That may sound reasonable to Californians, but to locals who once viewed Vegas as the affordable alternative, it's a wall they can't climb. Housing affordability index for the Las Vegas Valley has fallen to its lowest level on record. Over one-third of renters now spend more than 35% on housing, far beyond what's financially sustainable. Inflation hovers around 2.7%, but energy costs have quietly driven overall living expenses higher than ever. Electricity and water prices have surged nationwide, and in Vegas, where air conditioning is survival, not luxury, that pressure hits hardest. Short-term renters are taking the worst of it. Many don't have direct contracts with utility companies and must pay inflated rates set by landlords, sometimes double the official price. Tenants fear that owners will ride the wave as utility costs are excuse to raise rent further. Rising power and water prices also push up maintenance and operating costs, which landlords often pass directly to tenants through new surcharges or higher monthly rates. These invisible costs pile on top of rent, turning basic living into a financial gamble. The squeeze doesn't stop there. Food and daily necessities have become more expensive too, compounding the financial strain. Families are cutting meals, skipping repairs, and chasing cheaper vehicles, even if it means longer commutes and less security. Because once the land of affordable dreams has become a place where surviving costs extra. The housing crisis in Las Vegas isn't just a problem for residents. It's a slow-acting poison for the city's tourism industry. Because when the people who make the dream can't afford to live it, the illusion starts to fall apart. Las Vegas has always sold service as spectacle. Behind every show, every table, every smiling dealer or server, there's a worker whose rent, commute, and paycheck determine how you experience the city. But today, that foundation is cracking. The rising cost of housing and utilities has forced thousands of hospitality workers, the real lifeblood of Vegas, to move farther out or leave the state entirely. According to the Culinary Workers Union, more than 25% of hospitality staff have relocated or taken second jobs since 2023, many commuting over an hour each way just to survive. The result? Fewer hands on the floor, longer lines at check-in, slower service at restaurants, and casinos struggling to fill night shifts. Visitors notice online reviews mentioning rude staff, understaffed hotels, or delayed room service have jumped 4% year over year, according to Travel Pulse. One reviewer wrote, "Vegas used to feel alive 24/7. Now it feels tired, like the people here gave up trying. This shortage doesn't just hit comfort, it hits revenue. With labor costs up and morale down, casinos are raising prices further to maintain profit margins, feeding a vicious cycle. Higher prices drive fewer guests mean less tip income, and less income forces more workers out. Even international travelers sense the fatigue. Vegas feels expensive but empty, a Canadian tourist said. It's not fun when the staff look more exhausted than the guests." And when that happens, the experience economy collapses. Because Las Vegas was never just about buildings and lights, it was about energy, that invisible human pulse. And right now, that pulse is fading. If Las Vegas was built to make you forget reality, look closer, because reality is now lying on the sidewalks. Reason 5. Homelessness visibility, the shadows under the neon. The city that once promised everyone a second chance is now struggling to hide its failures in plain sight. Across the United States, the homelessness crisis has reached its highest point in modern history. Over 770,000 people nationwide, up 18% from 2023, or about 23 homeless individuals per 10,000 residents. And Las Vegas, the city of endless lights, is no exception. According to the Nevada Homeless Alliance, more than 7,500 people in the Las Vegas area are homeless, with over 1,200 living around the Strip, the very heart of its tourism economy. Under the glowing billboards and luxury marquees, rows of tents now line the shadows of parking structures, and people curl up behind casino dumpsters for warmth. Many of them aren't outsiders. They're former workers, dealers, cooks, valets, mainlandisia maids. "I used to park cars at the Bellagio," one man told the Las Vegas Review-Journal. "Now I sleep behind it. The tips I lived on don't even buy a motel room anymore." But this isn't just a humanitarian crisis. It's a full-blown economic threat. The sight of tents and unhoused people scattered along the Strip creates a jarring contradiction to the city's billion-dollar image of luxury. Visitors expecting a neon paradise now walk through streets lined with poverty and distress. Many, especially international tourists, describe feeling unsafe and heartbroken and admit they're unlikely to return. That shift in perception has real financial consequences. Travel behavior studies show that destination image is the single strongest factor influencing whether visitors come back. When that image turns negative, through visible homelessness, poor sanitation, or declining safety, it directly lowers satisfaction scores and repeat visitation rates. On platforms like TripAdvisor and Yelp, complaints about dirty sidewalks, encampments near hotels, and people sleeping outside casinos have multiplied, pulling Vegas down in global destination rankings. And that's where the downward spiral begins. Fewer returning tourists mean shrinking hotel occupancy, lower gaming revenue, and thinner profit margins for restaurants and shows. To offset the losses, resorts raise prices again or cut staff, both of which make the experience worse for the next wave of visitors. Meanwhile, the city spends more on policing, sanitation, and temporary relocations of homeless camps before major events, pushing operational costs higher for both public agencies and private businesses. It's a vicious cycle that eats away at the very foundation of Vegas's tourism economy: service, spectacle, and escapism. The same lights that once made people dream now expose what the dream has become. A city divided by glass and pavement, where luxury and despair share the same street. And if the Strip, the world's most famous escape, can no longer hide the struggle beneath its glow, then maybe the illusion of Las Vegas has already cracked beyond repair. Reason 6. Casinos are everywhere now. The death of exclusivity. There was a time when Las Vegas stood for something no other city could match: the thrill of risk, the illusion of escape, and the promise that for one weekend you could rewrite your story. But in 2025, that promise no longer belongs to Vegas alone. America itself has become a casino. Gambling demand nationwide is at record levels, with total gaming revenue reaching $6.52 billion in 2023, the highest in U.S. history. Traditional casinos, sports betting, and online gaming all surged simultaneously. Slot machines up 3.8%, table games up 3.5%, and online gambling growing by double digits year after year. What used to be a once-in-a-lifetime trip to Nevada is now a daily routine across America. Since the Supreme Court lifted the federal ban on sports betting in 2018, over 30 states have legalized casinos or wagering venues. You can now gamble in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Florida, even in shopping centers. A mall in central Maryland, for instance, houses a full casino with poker rooms, concerts, and fine dining. As one Baltimore resident joked, "Why fly across the country when I can lose money 10 minutes from home?" The next wave is digital. Online casinos and mobile betting platforms are transforming gambling from a destination into an app. The American Gaming Association projects over 80 million active online players by 2028, with digital revenue already surpassing $16 billion in 2024. For millions, Vegas no longer feels essential. It feels optional. This democratization of gambling has eroded Las Vegas's monopoly. In 2019, the city hosted 3.3 million visitors in July, up 11% from the previous month, filling rooms and breaking records. But by June 2025, despite Nevada's gaming revenue staying high, the number of visitors dipped to 3.1 million, down 7.8% from pre-pandemic 2019. Hotel occupancy slipped to 82.7%, and the average length of stay fell as regional casinos captured local audiences. Economists call this competitive diffusion, when what once made a destination special becomes available everywhere else. And Vegas's decline isn't just about competition, it's about context. The same city now struggles with rising rents, homelessness near the Strip, and service shortages caused by a workforce priced out of its own home. Together, these factors blur the fantasy that once defined the city. What's left is a paradox. Vegas is still bright, still loud, still lucrative, but no longer unique. The exclusivity that made it mythical has been diluted by convenience, technology, and imitation. America took the Vegas model, replicated it in every corner, and made the original expendable. Maybe that's the final twist in this story. Las Vegas didn't lose its magic because people stopped gambling. It lost it because they learned how to gamble everywhere else. Las Vegas didn't fall apart overnight, say. It was designed to. Every fee, every policy, every efficiency upgrade pushed it 1 inch further from the people who made it work. What we're watching isn't collapse. It's the logical outcome of a system that rewards extraction over experience. Algorithmic pricing replaced empathy, and policies built for profit turned housing, tourism, and even survival into commodities. The lights stayed bright, but the humanity dimmed. Vegas today is a mirror, reflecting what happens when a city becomes a spreadsheet. Privatized profits, socialized costs, shareholders win while taxpayers pay for shelters and cleanups. The tragedy isn't that Las Vegas lost its magic, it's that we kept paying to pretend it was still there. Outro and CTA. What happens when the lights fade? Vegas didn't crumble in silence. It's still glowing, pretending everything's fine. But every light hides a story, and every story asks the same question. How much longer can this illusion last? Maybe what's happening in Las Vegas isn't the end of a city, but the beginning of a reckoning, a reminder that no empire built on denial can stay dazzling forever. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you won't miss the next chapter. Because next time, we'll go even deeper, into the places where the American dream